There is a place on this planet right now, in 2026, where if you land, you will be killed. Not by animals, by people who have never seen a smartphone, never heard of your country, and want absolutely nothing to do with your world.
In a world of total digital visibility, there is exactly one place on Earth permanently and legally closed to the outside world. Deep in the Bay of Bengal, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands form a remote chain controlled by India. At the western edge of this chain sits North Sentinel. This satellite view shows a nearly perfect square of jungle, guarded by a shallow ring of coral reefs that make a close approach by ship almost impossible. In November 2018, John Allen Chow, an American missionary, bribed local fishermen to take him past these reefs. This image captures him on the beach during his final landing. Chow's diary entries from his final night describe being shot at with arrows by a young tribesman. He returned to the beach the next day and was killed. Facing a standoff with armed islanders, the Indian government eventually made the decision to leave his body where it lay. To the outside world, this violence looks like senseless aggression. But the history of this island suggests the Sentinelese have a very specific reason to fear any visitor who steps onto their sand. In 1880, Maurice Vidal Portman, a British colonial administrator, landed a large armed party on the island. The Sentinelese fled into the trees, leaving behind empty villages that Portman's men began to search. Portman's team eventually captured an elderly couple and 4 children. These 6 people were taken by force to Port Blair, the colonial colonel, to be studied. Within days of arriving in the city, the 2 adults began to sicken. Because their immune systems had been isolated for centuries, they had no protection against common mainland diseases. Both died shortly after. Portman decided to return the 4 children back to the island beach, along with a collection of gifts. He documented that the children were sick when they were released, likely carrying the same pathogens that killed their parents back to the rest of the tribe. The message left behind by the British was clear. Contact with the outside world meant death. Decades earlier, in 1867, a merchant ship called the Nineveh hit the reef. The crew spent 3 days fending off waves of arrows on the beach until they were finally rescued by a passing steamer. Then, in 1981, a cargo ship named the Primrose ran aground. The captain radioed for an urgent drop of firearms, reporting that dozens of islanders were building boats on the shore to board his stranded vessel. These shipwrecks provided the tribe with a massive technological leap. Instead of ignoring the wreckage, the Sentinelese began scavenging the steel hulls. This image shows the result. They cold-forged the scavenged iron into tools and the sharp, heavy arrowheads they now use to enforce their borders. The tribe has selectively taken our metal, but they have consistently rejected our presence. There have been rare moments of peace. In the 1990s, Indian anthropologists managed to drop off coconuts without being attacked. The islanders accepted the food, though they remained armed and wary throughout the exchange. When the 2004 tsunami hit, a government helicopter flew over the island to look for survivors. They found a man standing on the shore, aiming his bow at the cockpit. Even in the wake of a disaster, their primary focus remained on keeping the world out. Today, the Indian government maintains a strict 5-kilometer radius around the island. This naval blockade isn't just a legal barrier, it is a physical shield. It prevents the same accidental biological catastrophe that began in 1880 from finally ending the tribe's existence. In this context, the arrows are a logical patrol system. They are the only thing that has successfully kept their population alive. There is a reason the world remains obsessed with this small, square patch of trees. In a globalized society, the idea that a place can remain unreachable is almost impossible to grasp. We live in a world where every coordinate is mapped and every movement is tracked. North Sentinel is a blank space on a map that has otherwise been filled in. We find ourselves looking at this island because we are constantly tethered to a digital network we cannot turn off. The Sentinelese have fought for over a century to maintain their silence. Perhaps what we see in them isn't a primitive past, but the only remaining example of a world that is truly, permanently offline.
Somewhere on this planet right now, there are people living exactly as humans did thousands of years ago. No internet, no debt, no algorithm, no boss, just their island and their rules. And if you've ever, even for 1 second, wanted to disappear from the modern world completely, same here.